Welcome to the Cheeky Cook. My name is Sue-Ann. Today I'm going to show you how to make Thai green paw paw salad, also known as Som Tum Thai. Now, Som Tum Thai is made with dried shrimp or dried prawns and peanuts. You can also get another version, or you can get several versions, but there's a couple of different versions like Som Tum Pala. Pala is stinky, fermented fish. I don't like the taste of it at all, so I don't use it. There's also Som Tum Bull. Bull is crab, and in that version it's salted, again fermented crab. It's salty and crabby, and I just don't like it, so I don't use it. So let's get started. Some of the ingredients that we're going to use. So firstly, you're going to need some green pawpaw or green papaya. Any variety will do. It can be a yellow pawpaw or a red pawpaw. They come in all different sizes, shapes and sizes. The size or shape doesn't matter. How ripe or unripe it is does. You don't want it too green because then it's really bitter, and you don't want it ripe because then it becomes soft and obviously a bit more sweeter. So we're after a green pawpaw, so the texture is then crispy and obviously not ripe. So then we have some garlic and chili. We've got tomatoes to put in there. My poor little tomato plants got a little bit devastated in the wind recently, and I've rescued one little tomato. So unfortunately I had to buy some cherry tomatoes. We have some limes here. We've got dried prawns and peanuts. These ones are salted peanuts. These are from Costco. They're super huge nuts. Who doesn't like huge nuts? There's some long green beans down here. Normally I would use snake beans, and in Thailand you would use snake beans, which are I think they call them yard long beans as well. They're really long beans. And at the moment the weather in Australia is a bit hot, particularly in Queensland, and it's been very windy, and so the quality is not very good at the moment. So you can substitute with normal green beans like I'm going to do today. These green beans are more firm and a bit sweeter than snake beans. Now I also have palm sugar and fish sauce for it, and I was going to serve it with sticky rice, and I forgot to soak the sticky rice last night. I always forget to soak the sticky rice, so it's actually probably a good thing for today because I can show you then how to make sticky rice without soaking overnight. So now, before we get started on the sticky rice, we need to soak our dried prawns in some warm water just to rehydrate them a little bit. So you can get dried shrimp, dried prawns in the Asian store. Some supermarkets may stock it. The best ones are really nice, quite large. You can see these ones are they're a decent size. You can get some that are actually really, really tiny. I like the larger ones. Bigger is better, right? So just warm water out of the tap is fine. Just cover them. We'll just put them to one side. And now, let's get on with the sticky rice. So, Thai glutinous rice. It might be labelled as Thai sweet rice. I think it's because you can also use it for sweets. So this is not the same as standard jasmine rice. This is glutinous rice. So when you are buying the rice, make sure it does have glutinous on there. It's sticky, very sticky. So, I'm just going to what we need to do, so normally you would soak your rice overnight because it's very dry, and you need to soak it so that it can absorb some of the water, and then you would rinse it out and then steam it, and then it would take about, depending on the amount of rice, 15 to 20 minutes to cook. Like I said before, I always forget to soak the rice overnight, and then remember, you can soak it for as little as about 6 hours if you like, but it's not going to take 6 hours to make paw paw salad, so I'll show you how to make it without soaking. First we need to wash the rice in some warm water. So we're going to wash the starch out of it. So probably wash it or rinse it out 2 or 3 times. It depends on your rice. Sometimes some brands are really dirty. Now this is the little steam pot doodad that I'm going to use. So this is a traditional Lao style pot. You just fill that with warm water, or as hot as it comes out of the tap at the moment. Now I've only filled it to about here because, as you can see with the bamboo steamer, it's got a long part on it. So when it goes into the pot, you want to make sure that the water level is not too high, because you don't want it to touch the bottom of the basket. Otherwise your rice is going to be super mushy, which is everything we try to avoid in any kind of rice. It is up to about here because it's still going to, when it's boiling, it's still going to bubble up and everything, so you don't really want to have it too high. While we wait for the water to boil for the sticky rice, let's prepare the green paw paw. Like I said earlier, size doesn't matter in this case. I'm going to use this paw paw, like it's long. It's a bit of a weird shape there where it's been growing against the tree, but that doesn't matter. I'll show you a couple of different ways to do this, starting off with the traditional way. So I'm just going to cut off the end a bit, and then we want to peel the skin off it. Just going to put the sticky rice on because the water is boiling at the moment, so put that on quickly. Put a little lid on there, help keep some of that steam in there. Now what we're going to do with that is that's going to steam now for about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to take the basket out and flip the rice in it, and then put it back on there for about 5 minutes. After that, going to put it back into the bowl and rinse it again with a bit of warm water, and then do the same process again, put it back in the steam pot, cook it for about 10, maybe 15 minutes, have to see, just keep an eye on it, and do the same thing, flip the rice over in the basket again, and another 5-ish minutes or so, and then we'll tip it out and it will be ready, and I'll show you that a bit later on. Now you don't want to leave any green bits on there because they're yucky, bitter, yuck. So now we've got all the skin off the paw paw, I'll show you the traditional way of chopping it. So you do need a sharp knife and be very careful. It does look dangerous, but it can be. Watch yourself. So you're just going to basically tap the paw paw, just gently, across the whole part of it, like from the back to the front. Simply making lots of little cuts into it. Like I said, be careful of your fingers. And once you've done a little area like this, then just slice off the top like that. So you end up with these little shards of Paw Paw, which are quite nice. And so doing it the traditional way means that they're all irregular, which is what I like. Nobody's perfect. Don't need perfect little pieces. So you just keep doing that. Take the rice out, and so we've tipped that sticky rice out into the sink now, and just going to rinse it in some warm water. Basically loosen up all the grains again. Now on. Put that away for another 10 or so minutes. Now we've taken our rice out at the bottom to loosen it up a bit. Tip it out. Now we're just going to move the rice around a bit on the plate. Just let the steam out of it, and that steam releases a bit more of the moisture that's in there. Look at that. No soak sticky rice. A little bit more work, but that's the punishment for forgetting to soak it overnight. Now, that's the traditional way of doing the green Paw Paw. Now, in the Asian stores, you can get some funky little tools, like a julienne peeler, basically. So there's a couple of different types. I have got both of them. I definitely prefer this style here better. I think it's just the long skinny handle on it, but you can actually, I'm left-handed if you haven't noticed, and this one you can actually use it both ways, so you can just flip the doodad around like that. So basically then does all the hard work for you. Whoops. So let's talk about crocs. As you can see here, I have a couple of different styles. These ones here are granite, so they're quite heavy and they are very good for crushing and grinding. So good for garlic and doing nuts and spices. This one here, this style of crock is made out of clay. Don't drop it, very delicate. This is it's deep and narrow, as you can see, and you usually use a wooden pestle to bash your stuff in there. Now, it's designed that way because you're not crushing anything, you're not grinding anything in a mortar like this. You're basically bruising. So it's the same case with this one here that I'm going to use. This is made out of one trunk of a coconut palm. So it's all natural, one piece of wood, as you can see. It's got a few cracks. It's a little bit cracked around the bottom of it, a bit like me. And that doesn't affect its performance at all. So let's get to it. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, you can use a rolling pin on a flat surface like a chopping board. I have made paw paw salad on a chopping board for my mother-in-law up in Cairns because they didn't have a mortar and pestle that was large enough to fit more than a few cloves of garlic in. The other alternative is you can put the paw paw and the ingredients into a Ziploc bag, and you can do the same thing. Use a rolling pin and roll over it or give it a bit of a bash. But yeah, there's just a couple of alternatives if you don't have a large enough mortar and pestle or a mortar and pestle at all. How hot are we going to do it? I usually put things in the mortar in the order of hardness. So the harder the things are, the earlier on in the piece they go. Prawns, just give them a bit of a bash, knock everything together. Just soften them up a bit while we rehydrate them in a bit of warm water to soften them up. Otherwise they're quite hard. Peanuts. Put in a bit of sugar. Now with the peanuts that I have are salted and roasted peanuts. So just be aware that they already contain a bit of salt. So just need to adjust your seasoning then when you add fish sauce in. But if you have roasted your own, or they're unsalted roasted peanuts, just add a little bit more fish sauce. Add our beans in. Now, I said before that there were different styles of Paw Paw salad or Som Tum, and you can get Dum Tua, which is snake beans in the Paw Paw salad. So if you can't get green Paw Paw, I know it's difficult to find in some places, not everybody's as lucky as we are, you can use beans, long beans, you can use beans like these, you can use cabbage, sort of any crispy sort of vegetable, crispy, crunchy kind of vegetable. Some tomatoes in, let's give them a bit of a slice. Slippery little suckers. Often when you buy a Paw Paw salad in a restaurant or a takeaway, they put carrot in it as well. Now I'm pretty sure that started out because green Paw Paws are in some places not very cheap, and for restaurants to source them costs them a bit of money, so add a bit of carrot. It's nice for the colour, but it's also to bulk out the Paw Paw salad a bit. So I don't use Paw Paw in mine, like traditionally Thai Paw Paw salad doesn't have carrot in it, but you could make Paw Paw salad just out of carrots if that's all you can get. Now put in some of a mixture of our beautiful Paw Paw in there. Squeeze a lime. Nice juicy limes. Use a spoon to scrape, help toss your salad in there so you can get all the goodies out of the bottom. Add a bit of, a couple of splashes of fish sauce, just a little bit at a time. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. Smells fresh, spicy, good. So just sort of bruising the Paw Paw in there a bit, not really needing to completely squash it or anything, you're just bruising it basically to get all of those flavours mixed in. Pretty good, I reckon. Got to give it a taste. Cook's privileges. Get to taste everything first. That's good. Should be as hot as you would like it. A little bit sweet, a little bit salty, a little bit sour. I'm good. This is really good. Of course I'm going to say it's good. I made it. Add a few peanuts on the top there. Perfect. I reckon it's time to eat some. Where's that sticky rice? No. Be civilised and get a fork. Look at that beautiful sticky rice. Half an hour to cook, no soak. Let's get in here and get a bit of this. Cheers. Really yummy. Really yummy. Want some? Hope you've enjoyed cooking paw paw salad with me today. Well, we haven't cooked it, but we cooked the sticky rice. Please take some photos. I hope you are inspired to give it a go. Tag me on Instagram at The Cheeky Cook, and I'll see you when I'm looking at you. Go away.